and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari leaves for London to take care of an ear infection and observe his 10-day vacation. Also, former President Goodluck Jonathan says he's being investigated for corruption. Kogi State Election Tribunal dismisses petition filed by James Faleke challenging the election of Yahya Bello as the state governor. And at least 2 people die and 5 others injured after Kenyan police opened fire on opposition supporters in the western city of Kisumu.
And on Business News tonight, Capital Market Conference holds in Abuja as stakeholders call for tailored legislation to harness markets' potentials.
Alan Sports News, world number 3 Roger Federer kicks off grass court season with a return to Stuttgart for the first time in 15 years.
I'm Gloria Umezuke, and from Abuja, the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party meets with the different factions of the party in Abuja.
President Muhammadu Buhari has confirmed that he is going to be away in London for 10 days on vacation and to get his ear checked. The president gave the confirmation shortly before taking off from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Our State House correspondent Chukwuma Onekusi reports.
Some of the presidential aides were at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport as early as 9 o'clock in the morning to see him off. The president alights from the chopper that brought him to the airport at about 10 o'clock in the morning. The president also took time to answer some questions posed by journalists. One of them is whether or not he has informed the National Assembly that he will be away for 10 days as required by the law.
I've already told Nigerians that I'm going for 10 days to get my ear checked. I've already said it. The National Assembly knows. They have been formally informed.
For the past few weeks, the president has had to cancel some of his official assignments, delegating them to the vice president, raising questions about his health condition. But the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, who is also among government officials at the airport to see him off, clarifies on the issue.
It is not a question of being ill or not. If you are ill, it presupposes that there are certain things you can't do. You are incapable of doing some things. Till the very last minute that he's traveling, the president fulfilled and performed the functions of his office as the president. So illness is not the issue. But as a human being, yes, he can rest. He's been president for 1 full year. You know that in February he took 5 days leave and he's taking another 10 days now. That means 15 days leave in 1 year. You and I take more than that. And so it's natural that the president, as a human being, is taking 10 days rest, but he is not ill.
No doubt, well-meaning Nigerians wish their president a sound health, praying that he will receive the best of treatment and jet back home about the 16th of June to continue with the job of building and rebuilding Nigeria. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, former President Goodluck Jonathan says the government of the day is investigating him for corruption. Dr. Jonathan, who made the allegation in an interview with Bloomberg TV, says he would rather await the outcome of the investigations. Dr. Jonathan also faulted claims by the current administration that it inherited an empty treasury. In his words, it is not true. There is no way that he would have inherited an empty treasury and at the same time give bailout to the states is not possible. Nigeria is a fairly robust economy, but sometimes we over-politicize some issues and make it look so bad. It was not that bad. Some people ask questions like, I was the president of Nigeria since independence. I was the president for 5 years. Releasing the names of persons from whom the federal government has recovered looted funds and assets may jeopardize ongoing investigations. That's according to the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The Vice President said this today at the Presidential Villa during a meeting with a delegation of the European Union led by the EU Ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Michel Arion. Vice President Osinbajo adds that the focus of the Buhari presidency is to ensure the man on the streets in the Niger Delta receives the benefit from all that is available there. He also called on the leaders in the region to be accountable to the people. Professor Osinbajo also says the government is working round the clock to minimize the losses arising from attacks on pipeline installations in the Niger Delta. Lawyers representing former governor of Delta State, James Buhari, have alleged serious misconduct by Britain's prosecuting authorities at a London court. The allegations include that the prosecution team failed to properly disclose information to the defense in relation to alleged corruption by a British police officer involved in the investigation, and that it made misleading statements in court. Mr. Buhari, who was governor of Delta State from 1999 to 2007, is serving a 13-year sentence in a British jail after pleading guilty in 2012 to 10 counts of fraud and money laundering. Buhari's defense team has applied for Judge Tomlinson to permanently hold court proceedings on the confiscation of Buhari's assets, which have been dragging on for years. But the judge, having read the defense lawyer's formal application for a stay, said that it amounted to a challenge on Buhari's convictions, a matter that should probably be dealt with by the Court of Appeal. The judge adjourned the case to Wednesday, June the 8th. To electoral issues, the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the petition filed by Mr. James Faleke challenging the election of Mr. Yahaya Bello as governor. The tribunal says it dismissed the petition on the grounds that it lacked merit because Mr. Faleke failed to participate in the November 21st, 2015 governorship election held in the state.
The journey leading to the verdict of the tribunal began on December the 8th, 2015, when Mr. James Faleke, who contested the November 21st, 2015 governorship poll, along with the late Prince Abubakar Audu, challenged the victory of Mr. Yahaya Bello, who won the December the 5th supplementary election in Kogi State. Mr. Faleke, who was the running mate of the late Prince Audu in his petition, argued that the election wasn't an inconclusive one as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission. He therefore asked the tribunal to declare him winner of the election on the ground that he had a joint ticket with the late Prince Abubakar Audu, who was the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress at the time of the election. Delivering judgment on the petition, the tribunal dismissed Mr. Faleke's petition on the ground that he lacks the locus standi to challenge the victory of Mr. Bello, since he was not a candidate in the rerun poll. The tribunal holds that the APC duly nominated and sponsored Mr. Bello as its candidate for the Kogi governorship poll, and having originally nominated the late Prince Audu, the party was entitled to inherit the vote cast in the inconclusive election of November the 21st. Lawyer to Mr. Yahaya Bello applauds the verdict of the tribunal, saying the party remains one indivisible entity.
Honorable Faleke and His Excellency Yahaya Bello are members of the same party. The party simply sponsored Honorable Faleke as a deputy gubernatorial candidate to the late Audu. When, unfortunately, Audu died, the party was called upon by INEC, and INEC simply substituted Yahaya Bello, who came second in the primaries that threw up Audu.
Lawyer to Mr. James Faleke, however, disagrees with the tribunal, saying he will consult and advise his client on the next step of action.
We have seen the judgment of the tribunal. It's a legal team that has legal consultant. We'll now go home and look at the position of the court vis-a-vis our own position, and our client adequately will inform ourselves and take further steps if need be.
Although the tribunal has delivered its judgment, Mr. James Faleke has a right of appeal to challenge the tribunal's verdict.
Reactions have continued to trail the judgments of the Kogi State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, dismissing the petition filed by Mr. James Faleke challenging the election of Mr. Yahaya Bello as the governor of Kogi State. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Mr. James Faleke, who was the petitioner, announced plans to appeal the tribunal's judgments. He says the tribunal erred in law by dismissing his petition without examining the entire merit of his case.
I think there are certain sections of the judgment which I have seen on the TV that I think that I'm not a lawyer, but I believe is not in tune with our constitution. That I don't have local standing is very, very interesting to say that a candidate as empowered in the constitution does not have a local standing. In one vein, when the judgment said that, yes, the party has a right to choose candidates, but only limited to before the election. And if it is before the election, which of the election are they referring to? And I also think that the judges didn't look at the main case of the main subject of our case.
We'll have more reactions to that story, the tribunal judgments in Abuja. But in part two, after the break also, Governor Rochester Okorocha gives account of his 5-year stewardship in Imo State. Please join us again.